Jesus has just died on the cross, and the first person to call him the Son of God out loud isn't a disciple, a follower, or anyone who loved him. It's the Roman soldier who was in charge of killing him. This is the execution itself. Golgotha, mid-afternoon, Jesus hanging between two convicted criminals with a sign nailed above his head, reading "King of the Jews," meant as mockery. A centurion, a Roman officer commanding about 100 men, is stationed there to make sure the sentence is carried out and nothing goes wrong. At noon, Mark says, darkness comes over the whole land for 3 hours. It's not a solar eclipse. Passover falls on a full moon, when an eclipse is astronomically impossible. Whatever this was, ancient readers would have recognized it as something the natural order doesn't produce on its own. Around 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cries out the line this channel already unpacked in an earlier video, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Then, breathing his last, he gives a final shout and dies. At that exact moment, Matthew records two things happening at once. The earth shakes, splitting rocks apart, and in the Jerusalem temple, miles away, the curtain separating the Holy of Holies from everyone else tears in too, top to bottom. That direction matters. Top to bottom means it wasn't torn by a priest or a mob from below. It reads as something torn from above. The one barrier that had kept ordinary people out of the presence of God for centuries splits open at the exact instant Jesus dies. The centurion has stood at the foot of countless crosses before this one. Executions were routine work, but Mark says he was standing facing Jesus, and when he saw how Jesus died, the earthquake, the darkness, everything, he said something no career Roman officer should ever say. Truly, this man was the Son of God. In Matthew's account, the soldiers with him say it together, terrified. Here's why that phrase was not a small thing to say out loud in the first century. Son of God, Divifilius, was a title stamped on Roman coins and carved into monuments, and it belonged to exactly one person, Caesar. A Roman soldier handing that title to a man his own empire had just executed as a criminal was not offering a compliment. It was borderline treason. Quick note before we go further. If a detail like this, one most retellings skip entirely, is new to you, that's exactly the kind of thing this channel exists to dig into. A like helps more people find this analysis if you're finding it worthwhile so far. Scholars have actually debated this line for years. Some read it as sincere. The centurion, shaken by what he'd just witnessed, meant every word. Others argue it drips with irony, a jaded soldier's bitter joke aimed at a beaten, executed man. Mark gives no tone of voice, no explanation. The reader has to decide. But look at where the gospel writers chose to place this moment. At Jesus' baptism, the very first chapter of this series, a voice from heaven declared, "You are my son." Now, at the very end of his life, a Roman executioner says almost the identical thing back, not from heaven this time, but from the ground, from an outsider with every reason to say the opposite. And notice who isn't there to say it. By this point, the disciples have scattered. Peter, the same night, denied even knowing him 3 times. The men who spent 3 years walking beside Jesus are absent from this scene entirely. In their place stands a man paid by Rome to end lives efficiently, a man with no religious stake in the outcome, no reason to flatter a dead Jewish teacher. He's the one the gospel writers hand the line to. It's a pattern this series keeps circling back to. A pagan sorcerer's star led foreigners to his birth. A Roman centurion servant got healed on nothing but distance and a word. And now, at the cross, it's another Roman, the one holding the spear, not the 12 who knew him best, who says out loud what the insiders couldn't yet see. Whether the centurion meant it sincerely or spat it out in mockery, Matthew and Mark preserved his exact words anyway, and let every reader since decide which one it was. So which is more remarkable, that a career executioner said this at all, or that the men who'd followed Jesus for 3 years weren't the ones who said it first? Tell me what you think below. Next time, the women who came at dawn expecting to anoint a body and found something else entirely.